How many of you would invite this man, Dr. Jack Kevorkian, over for dinner? He's well known for assisted suicides. I personally would have enjoyed dinner with this man. He stood up for what he believed in and helped end suffering for many people. Many of us have had a loved one who has died. I'm a hospice nurse and have watched many patients suffer a long, painful death. We do our best to control their symptoms, but I cannot tell you how many times a patient will plead with me to help end their suffering. I hear all the time from patients that they are ready to die, that they are tired of hurting, but they have to wait. Sometimes the pain is excruciating from cancer. The family has to sit and watch their loved one suffer. Sometimes it's for months on end until their death. Today I'm going to tell you what we need to change about laws regarding death with dignity, the right to die, and the right to choose when we want to die. There's many terms that we use when we're talking about the right to die, so I'm going to define those first. Euthanasia. Euthanasia.com defines euthanasia as the intentional killing by act or omission of a dependent human being for his or her alleged benefit. You know, a lot of times, it depends on what website you look at. They define the euthanasia as with a physician helping. But I think as euthanasia becomes more popular, it's just considered if the person themselves decide the euthanasia, not necessarily with a physician. Next is assisted suicide. Again, euthanasia.com defines assisted suicide as someone provides an individual with information, guidance, and means to take his or her own life with the intention that they will be used for this purpose. Like Dr. Jack Kevorkian, he helped with assisted suicides. Right to die. TheFreeDictionary.com defines the right to die as advocating or expressing as in a living will. A person's right to refuse extraordinary life-sustaining measures intended to prolong life artificially when the person is deemed by his or her physicians to be terminally or incurably ill. This kind of refers to when a patient is brain dead and they need to sustain life through a ventilator, or if they are brain dead and need to have a feeding tube to sustain life. This kind of refers back to the very well-known Terry Schiavo case. The Death with Dignity Act. Procon.org defines Death with Dignity Act as Death with Dignity Act, which allows terminally ill Oregonians to end their lives through the voluntary self-administration of lethal medications, especially expressly prescribed by a physician for the purpose. Now let me add this also, that Washington is now also have a Death with Dignity Act. I am in support of the Death with Dignity Act, and so should you. And now I'm going to tell you why. Cancer. I'm going to talk about cancer a lot because it's such a prevalent disease with us. When it spreads throughout your body, it is very painful. We also have progressive diseases like multiple sclerosis, Lou Gehrig's disease. These are progressive non-curative diseases that ultimately you will die, and it's just such a prolonged death. Also, when we're born, we start out, we have a physician. You know, we're generally delivered by a physician. We have pediatric physicians, adolescents. You know, we are always followed up with a physician. If we're a woman, we're followed up in our child rearing years. As we age, we may need to be prescribed medications. We are just followed up continuously throughout our lives. If we may need surgery, if we develop diseases, we constantly are followed up with medical professionals and physicians. But during end of life, no matter what age we are, and we're diagnosed with a terminal illness, and we are given a short life prognosis, we kind of have that end of it's like a termination of physician care, and that shouldn't be. And we have a stop of our say of what our health care is. A lot of times we can decide if we want to take a medication or if we really want surgery for certain things. But the care for our death is something that we don't get to say, and that is not right. We also, a lot of us have had a pet at one time. When the pet gets to their end of life and they are sick and they're suffering, what do? We generally take them to the vet and they are euthanized. So why do we have enough compassion for our animals to put them to sleep to end their suffering, but we don't have enough compassion for us? With the Washington and Oregon's Death with Dignity Act, they have regulations, and with anything, especially something so important as this, there needs to be regulations. Patients need to have options. When they go and speak to the physician, they need to have options of other than doing death with dignity. They need to know that there is hospice, that there is palliative care, that they can have the option of dying in comfort. They need to know what to expect when they take the medications with the euthanasia. What are the side effects? What to expect when they take it? What the family needs to know what's going to happen. The physician needs to report all cases. Who has asked for it? Who has he prescribed it to? I think the family needs to report all cases. There should be support groups for the family, for the patient. When you deal with death alone, it's such a stressful, emotional time. So there should be support groups for people doing the death with dignity. Also, the patient needs to be of sound mind, able to communicate that they want to end their life with their terminal illness and not have their life ended naturally. They need to be at least 18 years of age, and they need to sign the consent forms saying that they do understand their actions. And also that at any time, even if they've received the medications, that they can revoke these and that they don't have to go through it. Oregon.gov put out a report saying that 114 people prescribed death with dignity medication in 2011, and 71 people actually took the medication. And Washington State Department of Health reports that 103 people in 2011 were prescribed, and 70 of those people took the medication. When people are asked why do they want to do it, it's for loss of independence, loss of dignity, and loss of enjoyment of life. Death is a difficult issue to talk about. Often, it's something that we don't want to discuss with our loved ones. This is something that needs to be addressed because we will all inevitably die one day. Sometimes it's a topic that is avoided until it's too late. Don't let this be too late. Let's make it so we have the right to decide what is best for us, whatever that might be. We need to have the right to die with dignity. I know that sometimes religion is a factor, but we need the right to say, this is what I want. So let us take a stand and get our freedom of choice back. We need to be able to decide how we want to die. Let us look fear in the face. Let us be prepared for our inevitable future. Let's take control away from the government, and let's be prepared and in charge of our future. Thank you.